So the finals season 7 is now out and a bunch of changes have been made to the game. But what do all these patch notes actually mean? Don't worry, I'm here to help, as in this video I'll be going over all of them and showing you how they actually impact you. As always with these videos, I'll have timestamps for each change, so let's get started. Alright everybody, here to give you the first update on all of the balance changes that have happened in Season 7 of the Finals. And there's a couple of them, so let's get started. First thing that I should mention, if you haven't seen already, there's a new map. It's probably my favorite so far, and it's got this layout right about here. So if you're ever wondering what the actual layout of the map is, this is it. Well, let's get into some of the new gadgets, because there are no new weapons this season, only 3 new gadgets, one for light, one for medium, one for heavy. So let's start off with the light one. So light gets this new gadget called the H+ Infuser, and this is a healing SMG. If you are wondering, no, it does not deal damage at all. It only heals damage. But anyways, this thing has 20 in the mag, and after a little bit, as you can see right there, it does recharge, but it does take a second. So you're not necessarily going to have it for every single fight. It does take a minute to recharge, but it's good for what it is. I think I slightly underrated this gadget before. I thought that it wouldn't be really useful, but the amount of healing it does at the rate it does it is actually kind of insane. And for some reason, my practice range dummies aren't shooting right now, so I'm just going to throw up a clip on screen of me using the H+ Infuser in a game, just to show you how crazy the healing actually is. People are going to start asking their light for heals. That's crazy to think about. But anyways, the playstyle of this gadget is probably going to be that you're going to be doing your normal thing as a light, taking off angles, playing slightly away from your team, getting picks and things like that, and then when your heavy or your medium gets low, then you regroup as a team, heal them up, and then maybe push in together, or then you go your separate ways again. That's probably the gameplay loop that is going to be used with this gadget. Then for medium here, we have the new breaching drill. Now this is a gadget that can go through walls. It'll basically breach through them. It's very similar to a breaching charge in terms of like the actual explosion that it makes. So kind of small, but it also does trigger a flashbang on the other side. So if I just place this down like this, just like that, you are now in the building. So this is going to be good in some of those closer range areas where it's harder for your enemies to avoid the flashbang. But if the room is too big, they won't get hit by that flash, and it'll kind of just be like a normal breaching thing. Now, the question that I'm sure a lot of you guys are asking is this going to take people off of Dematerializer? And I don't think it will. I think it'll be good for turret mediums. It'll be good for healing beam mediums, right? But I don't think it's going to take many people off Demat, simply because it takes so long to actually blow up the wall, right? Whereas Demat, it's instant. You get 3 and it's constantly recharging. You have such a huge safety net with it. You can pair it with shotguns, all of those things. Although Cerberus did get nerfed, which I'll talk about later, and that, if anything, might make people use Demat a little bit less, but we'll get to that later. And here, I'm going to show you what the flash looks like from the other side. Don't worry, I have it set to the black screen. So if I go through on the other side like this, full flash. It's a flashbang grenade. Now the Heavy's healing emitter. This one is quite interesting. So Heavy also has a healing gadget now, but this one they can use on themselves, unlike the Light's H+ Infuser, which can only be used on teammates. This one, you put it down like this, and it's going to target you and kind of follow you around and give you some very passive healing. This is about the range right about here, so you do kind of have to be somewhat close to it, but you can also pick it up and throw it. But it does take a second for it to actually activate again. So while you can pick it up like this, so can your enemies. So if you want to toss it on someone like this and then run up to them with like the SA-12, there is a chance, if they're far enough away, that they could pick it up and toss it away before engaging you. So just keep that in mind. Also, it'll just stay here healing forever unless you destroy it. If you shoot it, you can destroy it. It's pretty easy to destroy one of these. It doesn't have a whole ton of health, and obviously it's massive, so it's not even hard to aim at. But yeah, if you don't deal with it, it'll just keep passively healing forever. Where I think this will really be good is pairing it with like dome shields or mesh shields and things like that, and just having basically a ton of extra effective health, or pairing it with other heal things like the healing barrel. Over here, I'll kind of show this. So I'm going to hit myself here with an RPG, and we can place one of these down. This is the rate at which it heals. Pretty nice. And then let me RPG myself again. Place one of these down. And you could do something like this. Or even like a Doman with this. And just have a ton of extra healing. You could even have like a heal me medium pocketing you or one of the lights now. We could have a heal meta coming up here, but now every class has heals instead of just medium. Now to the barrels. They made some changes to the barrels and their health and their activation. So with the gas barrel, it said it removed the required instant damage to triggers. So if I shoot it once like this, it's still going to start leaking all the gas just like that. Just like that. I'm not sure what it means by removed the instant damage to trigger. Maybe that means that you had to deal all of the 75 health previously at once and you couldn't do it over time. Maybe that's it. I'm not sure. But their health now has decreased from 75 to 50. So in general, it should be easier to activate them. Goo Barrel now only needs 50 damage to activate it as well. So if I just shoot it like that, roughly about 3 shots with my FCAR, and we're good. And a big thing to note is that this season, Goo has been nerfed from 300 health to 240. So if I just kind of shoot a bunch of stuff at this Goo, it does break a little bit easier. Now the healing barrel should only have 15 health instead of 50. So just shooting it once and it triggers. And then same with the powder canister, or the smoke as most people call it. It should only take 1 shot to trigger now. Good news, I hope, for you controller players. They've made it so that you can now track gadgets with aim assist. So that's your APS turrets, your mines, all of those things. Now, if you are on controller, your aim assist should trigger on them. The only thing that I may be worried about is people placing down turrets and APS and trying to hide behind them and basically make your aim assist lock onto them. I'm not sure if that's going to be a thing in console lobbies or something like that. You guys let me know if that's going to be an issue. But hopefully this is a good change. Anti-Grav Cube had its cooldown reduced from 35 seconds to 28 seconds. Now you should just have it way more often. So just be throwing it down like this. Obviously, you're going to have your gravity cube back in no time at all. And if you're wondering when you will get it back, it'll be at about like 75% of the charge rate at which your current gravity cube will end. So pretty good uptime, honestly. You should be able to just be tossing these things everywhere now. I seem to have a strange visual bug now, but the APS got a little bit of a buff here. Now it only takes 20% of its health per projectile intercepted. So now it can block 5 projectiles instead of just 4. Pretty cool change. All right, we are back and the visual bug is gone. So let's try out the flashbang because it got a bit of a nerf or a buff depending on your perspective. So the flashbang now made it so that you won't get flashed as much when you look away from it. So if someone was to throw a flashbang at you and you like anti-flash it like that, you should be good. Whereas if I toss it normally like this, see, look at that. I get blinded a lot more, right? Now, obviously, most of you might think this is a nerf because, you know, people are going to get flashed less. But to me, this is a buff. If any of you have played like Counter-Strike before or maybe KO and Valorant, you will know about pop flashing and anti-flashing your own flashbangs. So basically, the idea behind this is like you can run out here, let's say, and like pop flash like that and like keep fighting, doing something like that. And your enemy will be flashed while you're fighting them. This could be huge for flashbang grenade users. So time will tell if this is a nerf or a buff. I think this is a buff. But yeah, just like start like anti-flashing your own flashbang grenades. Start doing this now. It could be insane. Now, Goo Grenade did get a nerf because, as I mentioned before, all Goo health is now down to 240 points. That includes Goo Grenade and Goo Gun. But now, Goo Grenade only makes a 5-wide wall instead of a 6-wide wall. Apparently, Goo Grenade was like doing way better than all of the other gadgets at pretty much every single level of play. So they decided to nerf it. Now, will this matter? Let's go check on this door right here. This is the rough standard size of most hallways in the finals right here. Now, it's not exact, but it's like pretty close. And let's test out the Goo Grenade. So it still blocks and it's pretty much like just wide enough. So you should still be able to block a lot of hallways with this. Maybe not every single one, but most of them. But for those of you Goo warriors who are using with like melees and shotguns and stuff like that, it should still work just fine. What I think this is really going to change is the people who would just toss like a bunch of Goo grenades and then steal a cash out, and there sometimes wasn't just much you could do. Like, let's say there's a cash out right here, I could just be like 1, 2, and if there's like a ceiling right here, even better, and I can just steal for free. Now with the smaller goo health pool and the smaller goo walls, there could be points where, like, you know, you can come in and get like a little bit of a peek over here, or you can kind of shoot it down a lot quicker. So it might not be as much of a free steal as it was before. And then they decreased the cooldown of gravity vortex from 24 seconds to 20 seconds. This one kind of confuses me because most people will just kind of use gravity vortex like this. They'll put it up on a point or somewhere, and they'll wait for someone to like steal the cash box, and then they'll trigger it. And usually by then you're not worried about cooldowns on it. So I guess it's nice for like a little bit more uptime, or maybe if you are playing with it a little bit aggressively, but I don't think most people are going to notice that change. Now in Cash Out Ranked, and there's another bit of this text talking about World Tour as well, they made it so that you can get more spawn locations. So hopefully this should stop teams from just like spawn trapping one location with like repeaters and scouts and just anything like that. They have also updated the ranked score penalty system. If you get a lever on your team, this is going to be helpful for all of you solo queue players out there. Then they've also increased the amount of points that you get in quick play. If you want to increase your quick play score, this is the amount right here. All of the VRs got decreased in cost, especially the ones from seasons 1 through 6. They now only cost 500, so you should be able to get a ton of new gadgets and items as a new player. But the ones in season 7 will cost 2200, so only the new ones. They've also increased the amount of VRs that new players receive after completing 3 rounds from 2400 to 5000. That is more than double. They have also increased the amount of points that you get from losing World Tour matches from 0 to 2. So now if you play, even if you don't win, you should still be ranking up that World Tour progress. Then with Goo Gun, they mention it here, but we already talked about it. Even the goo from the Goo Gun's health got decreased down to 240. Now for weapons, you might notice that the 9.3R now has 24 in the magazine instead of 21. So this is going to let you just get one more burst in. So if you're in some of these big team fights and you are firing a lot, you might be able to get an extra kill. You never know. Nice quality of life mag change. It's kind of like the ARN in that it has a pretty generous mag size and it reloads pretty fast, so it should have pretty good uptime. Cerberus Nerf, finally. Although I'm not sure if it's too much, we'll see. For those of you who didn't know, Cerberus was a bit of a problem, especially in the higher ranks of the game. Like in the higher ranks of the game, it was pretty much broken. It was so good. Maybe not in kind of your more casual game modes, but definitely in higher ranks, people were just abusing the hell out of this thing, especially with DMAT. But now Cerberus did catch a nerf. They have decreased the damage per pellet from 10 to 9, which will reduce a full shot's damage from 110 to 99. So let's test it out on this light target here. I should still be able to get the quick melee combo on it. But now you're going to be relying a little bit more on that burn damage. Let's test it on the medium now. You can still 2-shot with burn damage. Let's fire 2 back to back and see what happens. They live. That's huge. But you can still finish them with the quick melee. Now, let's get like point blank, like... Does it kill them? No. Okay, so now you need to get 2 shots and a melee at least on a medium. Now let's go for the heavy right here. 1. Let it tick. 2. Let it tick. And 3. Okay, so you can 3-shot if you let all of the burn text go through. But what about back to back? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. No. So now, get used to throwing in a quick melee with your Cerberus, basically. The time has come for a KS23 buff, but it's not a damage buff, it's a wall buff. So if I shoot the wall twice now, it'll break instead of taking 3 shots. Pretty nice. LH1 did get a bit of a buff. It went up from 40 damage to 42 damage. It was a pretty bad gun after they like super nerfed it back in season 6. And it seems like they've realized that based on the dev note that they included here. They said it was like one of the worst light weapons in the game. I agree. But now that they've buffed it, it should be decent. Let's check it out. You can 2-shot lights to the head. Let's try out the heavy target right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And now let's try out the medium. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So with the heavy, it's not a 4-shot to the head like it used to be a long time ago. It's a 5-shot still. But against a medium, it is 3, and against a light, it is 2. Now let's check out the body shot damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's check out the medium body shot damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And now against heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So basically, LH1 time to kill, provided you don't get any damage fall off or anything like that. Against lights, it's back to its old TTK. Against mediums, it's back to its old TTK. And against heavies, it is nerfed. So heavy players will be surviving LH1s more often, but it's going to be more effective against the light and medium players. The minigun's environmental damage got increased, and it went from 25 to 30, basically meaning that you should be able to break 3 walls per mag instead of just 2. So there you go. 3 walls per mag. There's a billboard on the other side of this, but yeah, 3 walls per mag. Now, this one is interesting. This was in the preview event, but I wasn't sure if it was going to carry over to the main game. It did. Sledgehammer got nerfed. It's a pretty big nerf. Sledgehammer kind of got the sword treatment. Sledgehammer's primary attacks now do 100 damage instead of 115. So against lights, it's going to be the same TTK if you were just doing that. But what you're really going to notice is that if you do this in a quick melee, they're going to survive. So you need to do 2 onto a light, onto a medium. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Or 1, 2, 1. So you need to do 2 left clicks and 2 melees, or 3 left clicks. So I would probably just do the 3 left clicks. And against heavies, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So definitely with these changes, they want you to be using the left click way more and not be mixing in quick melees. They also nerfed the right click. It's now 154 damage instead of 200. So on a light, you should still be able to one-shot them like that. And against a medium, it is 2. And against a heavy, it is 1, 2, 3. Yep. So what I would do is for lights, I would keep right clicking like this. And for mediums like this, I'd go 1, something like that. And for heavies, I'd go 1, 2, 3. Definitely a nerf. But as you can see from this giant wall of text here that they posted along with the Sledgehammer nerf, apparently, according to their internal damage, it was really overpowered at every rank in the game. So if Embark says it was, I believe them. I personally never really had an issue fighting Sledgehammer players, but apparently a lot of people did. So yeah. They said that they also fixed a bug where the glitch trap would have longer range than intended. So maybe a range nerf to glitch trap. It seems like it's still pretty long, so maybe it had like even more range than that in certain situations. I'm not sure, but they said it was a bug. But in any case, in some situations, your glitch trap might not be triggering from quite as long as you were used to. Now, for weapons general fixes, it said that they've moved all the automatic weapons over to a new system in Season 7, which should lead to less no-shoot and no-reload bugs, which would occasionally happen. And so hopefully those won't happen anymore. It says they'll start moving other weapons over to this system soon, but for now, it's just automatic weapons. But they made some big sight changes. This is kind of huge. All right? Some of you might not think it is, but it is. So this sight right here on the revolver used to have extra zoom. Now it's just 1x zoom. So now there's not really much reason not to use this sight. But yeah, they basically made this change to every single scope except for this one right here, which is also now on the CBO1 repeater, but this is now considered 1.25 zoom instead of 1.5 zoom. So it's a little bit closer range, and it's now on this rifle. Very nice. But yeah, those are all of the big balance changes in Season 7. Let me know what you guys think of them down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and with that, I will see you all in the next one.